welcome to Viewpoint on Ukraine today. My name is Tamara Rosevan. Joining us to discuss the results of a number of NATO meetings on countering Russian propaganda and strategic communications is Ukraine's ambassador-at-large, Dmytro Kuleba. Welcome to Viewpoint.
Thank you.
So I understand you attended some of these meetings, and one of them was the NATO meeting, which discussed the hybrid war. What was your message at this meeting?
The message was crystal clear, and it hasn't changed since 2014. The message is, this is a common threat, and we have to address that threat jointly as friends and partners. One thing, and we deeply appreciate it, is that NATO is willing to cooperate with us on strategic communications, and is actually cooperating. We do cooperate on that. On the other hand, what is needed, and it is in the interests of the alliance and its member states, is capacity building inside NATO on Stratcom, on countering Russian propaganda, because recent events, like the story about the allegedly raped girl Lisa in Germany, demonstrates that thanks to hybrid warfare, Russia can attack any country at any moment, like it attacked Germany, which seemed to be totally unreal just a couple of weeks ago.
And it seems that these kind of hybrid attacks, these propaganda campaigns, are targeting specifically Germany, do you think?
The recent attack with the story about Lisa that really had an impact domestically in Germany and made Foreign Minister Steinmeier respond to Foreign Minister Lavrov on those accusations, demonstrated that there are no immune countries, because the special relationship and the special connection between Germany and Russia would allow someone to presume that Germany is immune from such attacks. But the reality is different. The reality proved different. No one is immune, and NATO countries should be very serious about such threats, because many countries have their own vulnerable kind of places and points. So I was pleased to brief them about our experience and learn from them. It's a real two-way process when we share our knowledge with NATO colleagues, and we also can learn something from them. I'm satisfied with the level of our cooperation.
I see, but before you've told me that there wasn't as much attention being paid to this propaganda campaign that Russia seems to be using.
Yes, I remember 2014 when we had to spend a lot of time on explaining the threat of Russian propaganda, of why it is dangerous, why it is not only about information, but about shattering public opinion and social structures inside countries, and how deeply propaganda can penetrate and influence domestic politics. I am happy and pleased that the dynamics is very positive, and we started with explaining that to our international partners that this phenomenon, this threat exists. Now we are discussing the most efficient ways to combat, to address this threat.
And what are some of those ways?
It is complicated because propaganda is closely connected to the freedom of the media and freedom of expression concepts. So the most difficult thing here is to find balance between countering propaganda and ensuring that freedom of the media remains intact and remains defended, protected from manipulations. One of the most popular tools to actually fight propaganda is first to develop, one of the most popular tools are first to develop early monitoring and reaction mechanisms. And in this sense, Ukrainian civil initiative Stop Fake serves as a perfect example, and we bring it up in every meeting and explain to our partners how it functions, because detection of fakes and manipulations coming from Russia and efficient mechanisms to respond to them, to provide an objective information in return, are of crucial importance. And second tool is media literacy, of course, because in a world of media, audiences have to be very cautious about the sources, about the media they can trust, the media that provide trustworthy information. So
and
media
unbiased information as well, of course.
Exactly.
The recent events happening in Ukraine, the parliament, the government had a vote of no confidence. Yatsenyuk and his government survived the vote. But in Russia, this has been played up and had a spin to it. They played it that Ukraine is on the brink of collapse, basically. And at the same time, attacks in eastern Ukraine increased to alarming levels, because Western media reported that this was, in February, there was the most number of daily casualties since November. Now, this is a very alarming sign. And do you think there is a connection between these attacks and these propaganda campaigns happening?
Hybrid warfare is like playing piano. If you push only one button, you will produce a noise or a sound, but you will not produce music. So in hybrid warfare, like playing piano, you have to push many buttons at the right time to produce real music. This is exactly how hybrid warfare operates. So propaganda and military activities, they walk hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, alongside with economic pressure, alongside with the social provocations and domestic political influence. All these tools are there, and they're being varied, they're being played with. So it comes as no surprise that Russia is trying to portray the recent vote in the parliament as Ukraine approaching the edge. They've been saying this for 2 years already. The truth, though, is that whatever Russian propaganda and officials are saying, Ukraine is still alive and kicking, and this is what makes Russia worry, that despite all the efforts they engage, they cannot reach their goal. We are deeply concerned with the deteriorating situation in the east, with the shellings and with the attacks on Ukrainian positions. Our partners, our international partners, are aware of this, of the situation on the ground. And we clearly understand that these attacks, the hard attacks and the soft power attacks, are very well targeted, and we have to be mobilized to repel them.
Mm-hmm. And repelling them would mean producing a counter propaganda, some kind of framework?
No, I don't believe in the efficiency of counter propaganda. We have to be focused on producing our own content, telling the true story about Ukraine, about the developments. Because if we stick to countering Russian propaganda, we will eventually lose this fight and this battle, because we will not be focused on telling the world who we are. We will be only focused on drawing attention to what Russia is doing and what Russia is about.
And so what is Ukraine about?
Ukraine today
yes.
is about change. It's a very painful process, because the system that needs to be changed had been formed during 24 years. So it's difficult. The system is fighting back. But the new forces, those who want change and who want to change the country, are not giving up, and this is the most important thing. So we project Ukraine to the foreign ministry, project Ukraine to our foreign audiences through 3 simple words or principles, which are dignity, freedom, and creativity. We show that new Ukraine is based on dignity, because of the revolution of dignity, because what we have learned over this period. We tell them that whatever happens, whatever the pressure is, we will not give up our freedom, our independence, our sovereignty. And the third word is that creativity means that despite all these problems, despite all the conflicts, domestic and external, the Russian aggression, we are developing ourselves as a very high-tech and modern nation. And we emphasize the success of our IT industry. We draw attention to fashion trends, Wyszywanka trending in haute couture fashion, and all different things. So that the war is not killing us, it really makes us stronger.
I see. Very strong words. Thank you so much for coming in and taking the time to talk to us about this.
Thank you.
This has been Mr. Dmytro Kuleba, Ukraine's ambassador at large. You've been watching Viewpoint on Ukraine Today.